What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. I want to talk to you about the best investment strategy. And man, there's just not a lot of great investments going on right now. The market is in a weird place. Interest rates are super high. The Fed chair is hosing the economy here. What's the best place to put your money? And I would say that investments on its own are not the ideal spot right now, but an investment that has a business opportunity. Combine these two things together. How do I make active income and passive income? This is where the secret is, and this is where it is the best time for right now. Now, couple that with where we are at with the baby boomer generation. If you have been following along in the last 70 years, the greatest business opportunities are tracking alongside the baby boomer generation. There is a massive wave of them, right? When 70 years ago, they were all young. It was like, hey, bottles and toys and all sorts of stuff, right? And then, later, hey, they're all getting cars and they're all buying their first houses and they're all moving into, the job field, right? Now, they are all retiring even 10 years ago, getting into that leisure time of life, traveling, and also getting sick and dying. So this is where I want to talk to you about today. It's kind of a little morbid, but that is the fact of reality here, right? We have a massive wave of people, the silver tsunami, that are hitting end-of-life care needs, right? How do we take care of all of these people? We are something like at least 500,000 beds short across the country, pushing in the next 5 or 7 years towards 1 million beds short. That is a massive problem, and therefore it is a massive opportunity. Combine these two things, right? Investing in real estate, you build assisted livings, and a business opportunity, you take care of seniors. And you don't have to directly take care of them. You could be the CEO of a company that runs an assisted living or memory care. That's what myself and Laura do. We have both sides to the deal, and that is the best opportunity for right now. So sometimes you just gotta go all in. You gotta burn the boats. Stop sitting on the sidelines when there's a great opportunity right there. For me, I can tell you a story here. Right? When Laura and I were young in our 20s, we were waiting tables. We had just finished college. We were waiting tables at night. We had day jobs. I was working on an ambulance. I was in paramedic school. Laura was working for the city and this desk job that she hated. We both despised what we were doing, right? Had nothing really that we were pushing towards until we found out that we were pretty good at buying properties and fixing them up. We literally house hacked our first property here. And so we decided we were going to learn to flip houses, and we knew nothing about it, right? But we burned the boats. We literally sold our house that we were living in. Our second daughter was just born. So we had an infant and a 2-year-old, and we're like, we are quitting our jobs. So I quit 2 jobs, Laura quit 3 jobs. We sold our house. We had a nest egg of money. We moved into a rental property and we said, we are going to learn this, right? And we just screwed it up. And man, we sent out mailers and I put the wrong addresses on them. And we just I just blew like $3,500 and I was like almost in tears. But it didn't matter. Why? Because there was no out for me. We burned the boats. There was nothing we were going back to. There was no way in crap I was going back to waiting tables at night, right? We just said we are going to keep hitting our head on this brick wall until we figure it out. And it didn't take us that long, actually. It was about 3 months we got our first deal, and then a couple months later we got our second. And we did not give ourselves the ability to turn back and run back to our comfort zone. It was so uncomfortable. There was nights for probably the first year to year and a half where I was just stressed out, couldn't sleep. Laura was crying. It's just real, right? Entrepreneurship is not easy. Getting off the ground when you're first getting started is so difficult. But we were able to pay for speed, hire a mentor that guided us through the process. And within 2+ years, we were flipping, 25 houses a year and then continuing to grow and expand from there. And so we put ourselves in a position where no matter what, we are going all in. We are going to figure this crap out. And then a second time, we've been into multiple types of businesses and investing opportunities. So when we decided to open Platinum Resort, we were living in Southern California and we did not want to do the deal there. We wanted to do it in Texas. And so for us, we went all in again, right? We actually, on a trip out here to the greater Austin area, looking at properties, found a piece of property. It was a property in Mesa. I made an offer on it. Next thing you know, the next day we're in escrow on this property and we're still living in California. And I looked at Laura and I said, all right, babe, apparently we're moving to Texas. And it was like a month later, we packed up everything. We drove everything across the country. So we left our family, our friends. We had, our daughters were like, I don't know, 5 and 3 at the time or something similar to that. And it was like, there was no babysitters. There was nothing out there. We knew no one. We just went to this whole new town halfway across the country. And I mean, you see, I got like a faux hawk, right? Like I stood out here in Texas. And so it was what it was, right? Like I put ourselves in a position where no matter what, we were not going to fail. And there was nothing easy about this. We actually opened our first assisted living in the middle of COVID, and it was horrid. We had like the plexiglass walls for visitations. You had the most horrible situations, and then COVID finished, and then there was the Great Resignation, and that was actually harder than the COVID mandates that we had to deal with, where just no one wanted to work and everyone was on government funding. And it was just like, oh my gosh, we were working 24 hours at a time sometimes because people would call out and all the stuff. And there was nothing great. There was nothing easy. I'm not here to inspire you and tell you this is going to be amazing. I'm here to say, you know what? Your future is worth it. Sitting here where I am now, my life is fantastic, not because it's full of challenges, but it's full of things that I have overcome. And that's what I want to tell you to do is find your big goals. What is your stretch goal? And then put yourself in a situation where there's no way you can give up. It doesn't matter if you fail, if you get kicked in the face, if you lose $50,000. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is you cannot turn around. The only path forward is you get yourself back up and you just keep going at it. And it's not easy and it's not quick. If you're gonna have big goals and big dreams, then man, just consider it normal. You get kicked in the face. I'm here to tell you, I got lots of bumps, lots of bruises. I've lost money several times, but I have put myself in a financial position that is way greater than I could have imagined 10 years ago. I couldn't even dream that I'd get to this place now. And now my dreams are so much bigger than what they were then. So you can do these things. It gets easier and easier and easier, right? As you continue down this path and you learn more skills, you build equity, you become more valuable to the marketplace and you can start doing bigger and bigger deals. The hardest part is that transition from the safety, the W-2 job, the comfort place, man. That is the middle class trap. You will be stuck there forever, making just enough money, spending almost all of it, saving almost nothing, and having no play for retirement. Get yourself uncomfortable. Put yourself in a position where I'm gonna get my butt kicked and I'm gonna get up and this is worth it, right? For me, it was for my girls. I wanted that time. Man, we hated waiting tables at night and doing these jobs that we didn't like, right? It was horrid. And we wanted the freedom to be able to travel and spend time with our girls and be at all their games and events and things like that, right? We work a lot now, honestly, but I really love what I do. And any single day of the week, I could take off and say, I'm doing this with my kids, right? That's what I'm talking about here. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make great money. I'm here to help people. But I have that freedom of my own to say, you know what, today's my day. This is my kid's day. We're gonna go to the water park with my daughter for her birthday, right? Like, no big deal. This is what you can do. And I wanna encourage and tell you that it is so worth it. So I'm telling you to get off the sideline and go all in. But who is this really for? I wanna put this in kind of 3 little boxes for you. Questions to ask yourself. Is this right for you? Can you build a memory care mansion? Can you do these things? And I would say the first question to ask yourself is location. I was in Orange County, very affluent area, right? A lot of people with money, but it was not a great deal structure there. I mean, I lived in the ghetto and it was like $1 million house, right? So where is the right place? You have to have, I would say you have to have affluent people. You don't have to have crazy rich people, but you need to have upper middle class people within 20 minutes of you. You also should be in a state that's not crazy regulations. I would say probably 30, 35 states are pretty solid. I'm not gonna get into the ones that are terrible. But there are a couple states I just wouldn't do the deal in, or the state licensure process is just so difficult. It's like, I should just move somewhere else. And I think you should live near where you're gonna open this, right? This is not a passive investment. This is not something like an apartment building. You can buy them all over the country. We're talking about an investment in real estate, but it first and foremost is an active business opportunity. So when things go bad, you should be there for these things, right? You should be within 30 to 45 minutes or so of the location you want to be at. The second thing to ask yourself is, can I do the financing, right? Can I get a loan for this? So there's two parts to this. There is the bank loan. The bank is going to give you the majority of the money, 80, 90% of the deal. So a lot of times with SBA, it is a cash flow based loan, meaning it is not like your primary residence where you have to look at your debt to income ratio, take your taxes, take a certain percentage of that. No, it is based on the pro forma. How much cash flow will the business spit off? We spit off a buttload of cash flow in this kind of industry. So most times, if you look good on paper, if you have a steady W-2 job, if you have good credit, you don't have bankruptcies recently, right? You have some type of assets that will kind of help cover the period where you have to leave your W-2 job and then get stabilized, right? You have rental properties, you have a spouse that will keep their job during that transition time. It makes it a lot easier for the bank. So you got to look good on paper. You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to do this. You don't have to have $2-3 million worth of assets to be able to do this, but it's helpful if you have, a couple rental properties or something going on there, cash in the bank. The second component to this is the down payment funds, right? So if the bank is going to want 10 to 20% down, a lot of times that's $300,000 to $600,000. Now you don't have to have that in yourself. It is much more beneficial if you have at least 50 to 100 grand to get started in there. There's going to be, down payment fees you need for the land and, architectural fees and that kind of stuff. But you can raise this money. You can raise it on the very front side, or you can raise it after you've gone and had a takedown loan. And so I think that it is actually very, very simple to raise money from investors because everyone wants to be in this right now, right? This is the opportunity of a lifetime over at least the next 10 years. So the numbers are super strong. People who are professional investors in, all sorts of real estate deals, none of that stuff is penciling. When you come and you say, hey, we got this investment over here backed by real estate and it has this awesome business opportunity, the cash flow is amazing, you blow out all the other deals that they're looking at. So relatively very easy to raise money if you have the right tools and you have an awesome deal. The third question I'd ask you to consider is experience. What kind of experience do you have that's applicable? Now, you don't have to actually have ran assisted livings before. Very few people that I know and we work with have actually run an assisted living. But you may consider some type of medical experience. Are you a nurse? Are you a pharmacist? Are you a doctor? That kind of experience will go a long way. The other side of this is any type of business experience, right? Do you run a team? Do you have leadership skills? Do you do marketing? Do you have admin stuff? Those kind of things, either medical or business, are what I see banks being really drawn towards. If you got no experience and nothing applicable at all, it's like, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but you don't have to have everything, right? You could be the nurse kind of person. You could be the business kind of person. Or maybe even, another example of the business kind of person is the real estate business kind of person, right? Builders, flippers, investors, that's business, right? You're learning raising money, you're learning construction management, those kind of things. You don't have to have everything. And, shameless plug for us, you may just want to reach out to our team. We become that experience partner, right? We become a minority investor in your deal and it's plug and play. And now we are bringing the experience that you potentially need for the bank loan. So those are the three questions that I would have you consider if this is the right fit for you. And it's not an easy deal to do, right? Like it's at least probably 18 months from start to finish from I've committed to do this to I'm opening my assisted living. It definitely could be 2 years. And then really you hit the starting line, right? You think you're at the finish line, you're actually at the starting line. And then you start your operations company. And that's probably a good year of, Laura and I were there almost every day, full time for about a year, and then was able to build our team. People is the secret sauce to here. You get great people and you get time freedom. The money's there. The money can be very, very strong, but the time freedom is hard because it is a people-based industry. So you got to train your team. When they're awesome, then man, you pull your time back and now you're working less than 1 day a week. So if you answered yes to these questions, then maybe you should do this, right? Like no more sitting on the sideline. Don't analyze this to the death. No more analysis paralysis. There is so many things to learn that you will literally not learn until you're actually doing it. A lot of the operations side is learn by doing, right? Just kind of fail forward. So Don't sit there and like spend 2 years, I gotta learn everything. You're not gonna learn everything, right? Like I got a lot of free content out there, but it's a lot of front-facing stuff. It's a lot of the beginning process, right? I don't get in the weeds on all the operation stuff that Laura teaches the team. There's a lot that goes into that kind of stuff, and it's really just, you gotta get in there and you gotta learn these things. So if you have the right heart for this, if you look good on paper to the bank for this, you're in a great location, man, then I would say dive in, man, get this going. It is awesome. It is so worth it. It is challenging and it is super rewarding. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. One favor, right? My goal is to help people become entrepreneurs, to get out of the rat race, to quit their W-2 job that they hate. And the only way that I do that is if you can share this show. So my one small ask is that you would share the show with a friend and help promote what this niche is.